The tools needed for the 6G white with blue voltage regulator test kit are 125 to 75 amp battery inexpensive load tester and an ordinary test light. We're also going to show you how to hot wire the voltage regulator plug-in to do an alternator test in limp mode, which is an ignition system bypass. You'll need this tool right here. It's a 6G voltage regulator plug. The main wire that we're interested in for this test is the white wire in the middle. Place the red lead of the battery load tester on the hot wire output of the battery post on the alternator. Place the black lead of the battery load tester on a good ground on the frame of the alternator. Throw the load switch on the tester. Readings between 8 and 9 volts would be considered normal. Anything below 8 volts would be considered a partially or fully defective bus fuse or fusible link wire. Release the plug by pressing on the flat part of the plug with a flat blade screwdriver or a knife. Looking down at the plug with the flat lock on the right, this pin should be battery voltage at all times. To clear the memory or reset the voltage regulator, insert the test plug into the voltage regulator. Leave the yellow and green wire going nowhere. The only wire we're interested in is the white one, the one in the middle. Put it on ground, then take it back off. That resets the voltage regulator. This is a typical slip ring from a defective 6G alternator. The most common failure point from this style of alternator is a worn slip ring where the brush has cut through the copper on the slip ring. This normally happens on gas engines from 100 to 120,000 and on diesel from 80 to 100,000. You can see where the plastic underneath the copper is starting to show through, and that caused an inadvertent light to come on and go off and come on and go off. The easiest way to detect this failure without alternator disassembly is to observe amperage flow when the alternator is under various loads. For this test, the alternator can be placed in limp mode by clipping the middle wire, the white wire, to ground. At this time, the yellow and green wires on either side are ignored. The voltage set point during this test will be approximately 1 volt lower than normal. This is irrelevant. Place the inductive amp probe over the wire coming out of the back of the alternator. Start the car and let it idle at lower RPMs while observing the amp meter for dips or cutouts. This test should be performed at first to a fully charged battery. Then, 5 minutes into the test, various loads such as headlamps or AC can be applied to add stress to the field circuit. We're going to show you how an alternator that passes the amperage test performs. There are no fluctuations or drop-offs in the amp meter as various loads are applied. Notice the static volts is at 12.6 to start the test. The 6 to 7 amp field current draw is the white wire being hooked up to ground.